Operator, get me movie phone. I want to see what's playing. Operator. Oh. Hello there. Do you like classic movies? I do. And today I wanted to share some of my favorite classics with you. But not just any ordinary classic DVDs. These are titles from Universal Studios' Vintage Art Series. Special DVD releases with slipcovers depicting the original poster art from these classic films. I should preface this video by saying that I don't have a complete set of Universal's Vintage Art Series DVDs, and if you look on eBay or anywhere else online, you're liable to find several titles you won't see in this video, such as King Kong vs. Godzilla, The Palm Beach Story, the 1934 version of Cleopatra, the original film adaptation of McHale's Navy, and so on. My resolve has been only to purchase titles that I have seen in person at my local Walmarts or other big box retailers. I've been unable to find a complete list of every Vintage Art Series title, but these are the ones that I've been able to acquire over the years. I hope you enjoy. Starting with the 2017 releases, and going in chronological order by the film's release date, we have everybody's favorite Invisible Rabbit, Harvey. Another Jimmy Stewart classic for you, Rear Window. One of my favorite Hitchcocks, I might add. How about Debbie Reynolds and Leslie Nielsen in Tammy and the Bachelor? Very fun comedy. Let's find out what happened to Madeleine Elster in Vertigo. Imitation of Life, the 1959 adaptation by Douglas Sirk, not the 1934 original. Both are very good. Highly recommend them. One of my favorite romantic comedies, Pillow Talk. Rock Hudson and Doris Day in their first of several movies. Can't have a collection without Psycho. Don't take a shower. Rock and Doris's second movie, Lover Come Back. Not as good as Pillow Talk, but still worth seeing. Tony Curtis, 40 Pounds of Trouble. Very fun comedy there. Teams him and Suzanne Pleshette. Also from 1963, The Birds, yet another Hitchcock. Poor Tippi Hedren. Couldn't get a break. A very Hitchcockian film that was actually directed by Stanley Donen. That would be Charade, one of Cary Grant's last major films. Very good movie. We have Rock teamed up with Paula Prentice in Man's Favorite Sport. Tony Randall meets Burl Ives, the King of the Genies, in The Brass Bottle. Another very fun movie, the inspiration for I Dream of Jeannie. Doris and James Garner in The Thrill of It All. Rock and Doris's last movie together, Send Me No Flowers. Very, very funny, 1964. And finally, from 1967, jumping ahead a few years, Julie Andrews does Thoroughly Modern Millie. Everything today is thoroughly modern. I should note, as I'm working my way through these titles, all of the releases on the Vintage Art Series label are simply the basic single-disc DVD releases. The only difference are these new slipcovers. So this was the standard sort of budget model. If you wanted this film for your collection, this might be in the $5 box or the $7.50 bin, something like that. So no fancy 2-disc special editions and that sort of thing. Just the bare bones. That takes care of the 2017 wave. Let's jump ahead now to the 2018 releases. You've seen it before. Kirk Douglas's Spartacus, clenching his teeth. Great film. Stanley Kubrick directed that. A classic here, To Kill a Mockingbird. Can't beat Gregory Peck as Atticus. Speaking of Gregory Peck, MacArthur from 1977. He's very good in this film too. Doesn't get mentioned as much. And one that might seem a bit incongruous with some of these other titles, The Jerk. Go buy yourself an OptiGrab. Make your eyes go cross. Very funny movie, a little bit different in tone compared to the other releases. Something else I need to mention about the 2018 wave, they began releasing, or rather re-releasing, collections. These multi-disc sets with 5 or 6 movies in them, got the new vintage art treatment. Most of the covers used poster collages, such as this. Here's Don Knotts, 5 of his films. Some classics in there like The Reluctant Astronaut and The Love God, and they kind of used an image from each of the posters on. So it turned out good. A lot of fun movies in that one. Jimmy Stewart 4-pack. 3 of these movies had already been released on the Vintage Art label. As far as I know, the Glenn Miller story hasn't been, but maybe that's just one I haven't been fortunate enough to find. John Wayne 10-pack. Now, most of these are relatively early films he did when he was still very much a B-movie actor, stuff like Seven Sinners and Pittsburgh. And there are some of his stranger forays in the 50s, like The Conqueror, where he played Genghis Khan, and Jet Pilot, which is a series of videos into itself. But a good variety here, if you want to look at the Duke from when he started being a leading man up till some of his last films. Nice set. Here's a big Doris set. All the comedies in this set, the 3 Rock Hudson movies and The Thrill of It All, again, had already been issued on the Vintage Art label. This also includes 2 of her thrillers, Hitchcock's The Man Who Knew Too Much and Midnight Lace, both of which great movies. And again, they did the poster collage stuff there. Looks very nice. And then Rock got his own releases here. Man's Favorite Sport we've seen, but none of the others in here. All sort of different types of comedies. Some a little bit different, like Blindfold. But a nice set. And then one that, it's a good collection, but I don't think it quite fulfilled the Vintage Art promise. So we'll come back to this at the end of the video. And that would be this Bob Hope comedy collection, and it's a nice set, but they didn't really do the poster collages. They didn't really try that hard, I don't think, but it's got some fun movies in there like The Ghost Breakers and the 1930s version of Cat and the Canary that nobody talks about. So a nice set, but a little on the lazy side when it came to the packaging. Now we'll jump ahead to the 2022 releases. All of these I purchased at the start of the year. And we got some definite classics here, starting of course with The Wizard of Oz. No movie collection is complete without that. Nor is one complete without Casablanca. Now again, these are just the simple single disc releases, nothing fancy. You know, you can get very nice deluxe editions of both of these films, but these are just ones that just to have. Singing in the Rain, one of my all-time favorites. Great movie. West Side Story, of course, has come back into prominence as it has been recently remade. Haven't seen the remake yet. There's the original from '61. Come with me and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. That's Willy Wonka for you. Tell you what, the Johnny Depp version can't match that one. Breaker Breaker. How about watching Smokey and the Bandit for you? Just drive responsibly, please. Coal Miner's Daughter, the Loretta Lynn biopic, Sissy Spacek, very good in this. Wonderful movie. You like a good melodrama? There's Somewhere in Time. Superman and Solitaire together in an epic love story that transcends time. The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. Dance Little Sidestep. Very funny movie. Dolly's great in this. Gotta love her. And finally, I believe the most recent title in the entire collection, the 1986 adaptation of Little Shop of Horrors. It's got a mean green mother from outer space. Very fun movie. And those are all the Vintage Art titles that I've been able to track down personally. Have you seen any of these titles around? If you have, feel free to leave a comment and say what you've found or what you've purchased and where. And feel free to fill me in on other titles that you might have seen. Before I go, I mentioned during the Bob Hope segment that the packaging was really not up to the vintage art standards. It didn't recreate any of the old poster art or anything like that. And I found that to be kind of disappointing. But there was one release that did even less. There was a vintage art adaptation of Abbott and Costello Volume 1. And I refused to purchase it because the cover art was simply this, with the vintage art logo replacing the franchise collection name up at the top. And I thought that was very lazy, that they couldn't have made an attempt. True, there are very small sort of lobby card depictions on there, but nothing of substance. And I thought that was a little lazy. So believe it or not, I said no thanks. This was good enough for me. But other than that, I love the vintage art collection. I think they make great display pieces, and some of those films I didn't have yet, so it was nice to be able to drop them in. Most of them I was familiar with, but it's still nice to have them. And yes, so please do leave a comment or leave a like for me and tell me about what movies in the vintage art series that you enjoy or that you've purchased. And until next time, my friends, have a good week, and I'll see you later.